and welcome to Express Drive's Happy World EV Day. And today is a special day because we are going to drive Mahindra's first EV SUV, and that is the XUV400. We are at Mahindra's testing track that's in Chennai, and we're going to find out what this car or this SUV is all about. Now, many will say that Mahindra has joined the EV sector slightly late, but according to Mahindra, this is an opportunity because this is going to bridge the gap between the B and the C segment, and according to them, both the segments only constituted 2% of the market. So they feel this is the right time to enter and maybe even be a disruptor in this market. But we have said enough. Let's find out what the fun element of the XUV400 is all about, because that is what Mahindra is emphasizing a lot about. When we mentioned earlier that when you look at the XUV400, it does look very similar to its sibling, the 300. And why not? Because it's based on that same XUV. But it has a lot of new things that stands out. First and foremost, the funky design in itself. We've all seen it, and it continues to be the trend that, the front nose is all completely covered up. That's the same thing with all EVs, and the XUV400 continues with that same trend. You can see it has these copper insets right here and the brand new logo also right here, the copper twin peaks. Now that looks really funky, very contemporary, and I am 110% sure it will also attract a lot of young buyers. Now you move forward here and you look at the front bumper also. Again, it is covered because there is no engine, so there's no need to get that additional air vents. Now this is the top of the line model, and that's the reason why it has those copper garnishings. You can see it right here. Now the XUV300 had an extremely long elongated LED lamps. Well, this one doesn't have it. Rather, they have this copper inserts right here, and they look really funky, honestly speaking. Now let's go and see what the side profile looks like. Now when you look at the side profile, it looks very much again like its sibling, but here the really different changes or the important changes that we mentioned are the wheelbase. It is 2600 mm, and its actual length is 4.2 mm, so it is not a sub 4 meter SUV, so it's a lot more spacious, and that promises a bigger boot of 378 liters, and that is something which the 300 had always had a problem with. That was its kryptonite, lack of luggage. But over here you can see again, because the top of the line model, it gets your chrome inserts right here in the bottom, and here is the dual tone roof. Coming to the rear, it is our favorite. It looks clean, yet it looks very contemporary, and the tail lamps, they look very jeweled, like it has a lot of things going. And of course it has the copper inserts, the trademark XUV400. Speaking of trademark, even the badging here has that copper finish. Now, just to also emphasize on the fact that it comes with 16-inch alloy wheels. Now from the rear, it does look again very much like the 300 as you mentioned. Now we mentioned a bit about the boot space, and that is 378 liters. Let's take a look and see how spacious it is actually. Now we have already put some luggage here, and if you take a closer look and you see, there is fairly enough depth and there's also enough width, so it is a lot more usable. But you got to keep in mind that the loading bay, it is quite high. So I'll give you an example right here. So you keep your luggage here and you lift it up. So you can see the distance or the height is a bit on the higher side, but apart from that, the luggage is very much usable and very practical. So as you can see, we are inside the XUV400's cabin. Like its sibling, the 300, it has always been a spacious car, and it continues to be one. Especially the width. The width is something that we'll talk about later when we sit in the rear seat. Now, first thing we can talk about is the 7-inch infotainment system. It is showing its age, sadly to say, but in terms of touch capacity, well, it's fairly okay. You can't really complain much about it. We keep hopping on this fact, but it is something that we do like, and we also encourage manufacturers to come up with more buttons because it's just a lot more safer to use while driving. Please don't take us wrong. We are not recommending the fact that while you're driving you use the infotainment system. Absolutely not. But because of your muscle memory, you can drive and automatically you know that this is home, this is navigation, so you know the buttons. It's just a lot more easier and safer to use. The XUV400 comes with 3 driving modes. They're called Fun, Fast and Fearless. So that's very innovative from Mahindra's side, and we'll tell you how different are those modes when we are driving the car. In terms of cubby holes and little knick-knack spaces, well, there are lots of them. You have your cup holders right here. They may look a bit small, but I think you can do with them. Then of course you have your storage spaces on the door sides. The steering wheel as a whole, it looks a bit premium. It has a leather wrapped steering wheel. It comes with controls which you expect, and this piano finish really gives it a very upmarket feeling. Now this is the top of the line model, so again they have used the copper inserts extremely well, like your volume control, your AC control, and even your AC vents, the 2 cornermost AC vents, they also come with copper inserts. The seats as such, they are very comfortable. You got to keep in mind that we are actually at the test track of Mahindra, so we're not going to be using the car that long or driving the car that long, but for whatever little we have driven, we really can't complain about the seat comfort. It also comes with a sunroof. Now it's not a panoramic roof, but it comes with sunroof, and Mahindra knows a bit too well that Indian customers just love this feature. So this also is available. Now we are going to talk about the rear comfort and why the width is very important in this segment. Now I have put both the seats according to my height, so you can see that there is still enough knee room, but for the middle person who's sitting here, it will be a bit of a tight squeeze. But we had mentioned about the width, and the width of this car is 1821 millimeters, so you can actually put, or 3 adults can sit here comfortably, but the only problem here will be the knee room here for the middle row. So when you're sitting in the side here, then you will have no problems at all. You have very decent knee room. You can slide your feet underneath the front seats, and of course you have the armrest here, so you can just chill and relax. So the XUV400 retains a lot of the strengths which the 300 had, and first and foremost that is the platform itself. It was very good in taking corners and continues to do so. It's very sturdy in high speeds. You got to keep in mind that we have only driven this in the Mahindra test track, so it is limited driving that we have done, but it is very, very satisfying. If you drive the car, you'll know how good it is, how it performs. Not to forget that this is actually the fastest vehicle in the segment. It does 0 to 100 in 8.3 seconds. What that means is it can do 0 to 60 within 5 seconds. Yeah, so it's a fast car, and you feel the power, because that is what the electric cars are all about. There's nothing linear about it. You just put the pedal to the metal and my god, it just takes off like no one's business. It comes in 3 different modes, and they do make a lot of difference. The top mode, the fearless mode which they call it, well, it really packs a punch. It goes very fast, and I guess if you actually test it, I think it could go even lower than 8.3 seconds. In terms of just generally driving it from point A to point B in the city, well, It is very comfortable, and as it's an electric, you always have enough power. So even if you need to overtake someone quickly, well, there is just so much power. So let's just talk about the battery. The battery is 39.4 kilowatt hour, so it's just below 40. And in terms of charging, fast charging rather, it does 0 to 80% in 15 minutes, so that's quite fast. So you need to use the DC fast charger in that case. If you use the regular charging, then yes, it'll be around 7-8 hours roughly. So that's still, you know, what the competition also offers, so that's not again too bad. And with so much power, the range is not at all compromised, because it offers 456 kilometer range. Now this is of course the ARI figures, but even if you just subtract 100 kilometers from there, 350 kilometers is also a very decent number. So it's agile, it's quick, it actually takes on corners. Yeah, the steering wheel is a bit light, but then, you know, most of the people will like light steering wheel because it just makes it a lot more easier to drive. So as a vehicle, as an electric vehicle to drive, it is really fun. So yes, Mahindra has delivered on the fun factor which they promised in the XUV400. So after a quick drive and testing the XUV400 in different terrains, it is actually quite impressive. Now this is the fastest in the segment, it is the longest in the segment, so in many ways it becomes one of the most practical EVs available. And oh yes, of course, it has also a segment leading range of 456. So of course those are ARI figures, but then that is still quite impressive. Now moving on towards the infrastructure side, Mahindra has said that they will be signing 3 partners, and they will set up charging ports not just at their dealerships, but they'll also set up charging stations at your residence. And the third part is that with an app, they will also let you know which is the nearest charging port. So all your anxiety issues, all your anxiety worries are getting sorted right here. Coming back to the car, well, it has its strengths with the 300. It handles well, it is a solid car. It now offers boot space as well. We love the 3 driving modes. You can feel the punch, you can feel how reactive the car is. Now they haven't spoken about the prices. That's because they will reveal the prices in January 2023, and the deliveries will start in the latter half of that month. Now the pricing will be a very important factor, because this is something going to be between the B and the C segment. So it does have the traits, it does have the quality. Maybe the interiors could have been better, but then it does promise in a lot of different levels, and it backs it up with those promises as well. So now it's all about the price. As for an option in the market, this should stir up the competition and offer a valuable and a practical option, provided they get the pricing right. Thank you for watching Express Drives, and do let us know what you think of the video about the XUV400, and also let us know how sustainable and how practical is the EV sector in India. Thank you so much, and please do like and subscribe the channel as well.